I'm Grady.
And I'm Zach.
And I'm Charisse.
And welcome to Highlights, a show where we recap a reality competition show, usually a drag one, like it's sports, even though it's not. This season, we are covering season 14 of RuPaul's Drag Race. And I think now, as we get ever closer to the finale, things are actually starting to shake out in some interesting ways. So let's get into that. Previously on Drag Race. Last week's episode was 60's girl groups, and all of the queens had to be split up into different girl groups and perform for the judges on the main stage. I think this is part 2 of last week, actually, in terms of building up to where we end up here. And I have mixed feelings about it all. So let's break it down. Favorite mini challenge, though, I have to say, and a Drag Race staple this week was the reading challenge.
Absolutely. Who does not love Paris is Burning?
Lady Camden and Bosco were hilarious.
Yeah.
There were a couple duds. As expected, Diabetes was kind of just mean and mean-spirited. It wasn't really funny. It was just very bitchy.
I definitely like Lady Camden and Bosco. Bosco was fantastic.
Anyways, Bosco was in fact named the winner of the reading challenge and won a little bit of prize money in the amount of $2,500, bringing up her total winnings to $7,500 currently because of her challenge win. So good for her.
Yes.
So then they are presented with the challenge, right? Which for the maxi challenge, they are split into 3 different girl groups.
But they get to choose their own group.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I love this part. This is how production can make things different every single season.
Yes.
This was interesting.
And it definitely worked out into some interesting groups. But I will say, for the most part, nobody seemed to fight that much or really care, except Diabetes, who was very insistent about being on the Shangri-Las. So the groups are the Shangri-Las, the Runettes, and the Supremes. The Rupremes, sorry, not the real Supremes. And the Shangri-Las are made up of Willow, Dia, and Bosco, which is a pretty strong group.
Mm-hmm.
The Runettes are Deja, Jasmine, and Georges, which seem to be very much made of some of the middle grounders. Then the Rupremes are Angeria, Lady Camden, and Carrie Colby. Kind of a strong group.
The group that Deja Sky was in was probably a group of like the weakest queens. And then Angeria's group and Diabetes group were probably the top 2 groups, and both were probably going to do pretty well. But I could not stand Diabetes' behavior in I'm going to be on this team regardless, no matter what anyone says, because if you can't be flexible, it just shows that you're not confident in your ability to be a performer, and it just solidified that. I don't care if it's you're sticking up for yourself in the competition. It just made her look like really bitchy.
Which, to a certain degree, it's like, go for what you need if you think that's where you're going to do well. It is a competition. There's no shame in that. The problem is it just seems to be coming out of like this bitterness because she feels she's not being noticed enough, or whatever validation she's not getting from the judges. And so she's desperate to stand out. And it's coming out in this weird maladaptive way. And I feel like it's turning everybody off. So everybody's just like, kind of like whatever with her at this point.
Right. Especially because she wants so much for the other queens to validate her as a competitor.
I know.
That's not how you go about doing it, by stomping your feet until you get what you want. And if validation is that from your sisters in drag, like that behavior isn't going to get it for you, boo-boo.
For sure. And a true performer should be able to shine no matter where they are. No matter where they are. Evie Oddly won, and she was sitting on a hay bale for an entire performance.
Right.
On the main stage.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. you can stand out. It's not about anybody else's performance. It's not about the role that you were cast in. It's not about
Just
the
do it
clothes that
well.
you're wearing. It's about how you as a performer shine.
Even look at the body language in this.
I know. I was just about to say that. Like, look at this still we're looking at. She's,
Diabetes reminds me of Angelica from the Rugrats.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
You dumb babies.
Stupid babies.
Then it's time to head to the main stage, and here we have RuPaul dressed as the prettiest Swiffer I have ever seen. And I didn't want to hate this, but I feel like I do. You know,
I would love a gold feather duster like that just to be that extra.
Michelle looks amazing.
She does. I love that off the shoulder or like that
Mhm.
exposed shoulder kind of good deal she got going on there.
For sure. I was totally tired of the cold shoulder until Michelle wore it like this.
Yeah.
I don't really know what Rue's wearing.
Michelle likes emerald green on her. Ironic for her.
Right.
It's very classy, yet also like very Jade from Mortal Kombat.
Oh my God. I totally didn't even think about the fact that it was green. She looks fantastic. How could I forget that?
Carson looks great as always. I want that jacket. I want that entire outfit. And then our guest judge this week was Alec Mapa, who's been around several times to Drag Race. I love Alec Mapa. He's always hilarious. And he's pretty in pink today, I guess. His tie's crooked in this photo. It's bothering the shit out of me, but it's okay.
I was gonna say I can't say I love this outfit. He's really funny though.
So then it's time to get into our girl group performances. First up, the Shangri-Las, based on, of course, the Shangri-Las.
Unfortunately, I understand what they meant by Diabetes being animated and in character the whole time throughout the performance.
Sure.
Because I really preferred Willow Pill's voice, but her face was very cold and not animated. But if I had to put Diabetes and Bosco next to each other, I probably would have gone with Bosco as the better performer overall, because Bosco was just as animated. Like I agree with what you're saying. Like there was a clear push for Diabetes because Bosco gave a really, really good performance. And I can't honestly say that Diabetes' vocals were that much better than Bosco's, and they had about the same animated performance. So I really wanted to for Willow Pill to be my favorite, but she was just very stiff throughout the performance.
She was. I think she got nervous. I definitely think
Yeah.
Willow Pill got a little bit nervous, but I definitely agree with you. I think Bosco was the standout, not Diabetes. Honestly, though, what was strange was I was looking at the Runettes stage right, and they couldn't even keep a background 1-2-1-2 in the like with everybody else in the background. It was the strangest thing. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you
Oh my
doing?
God. And let's
Yeah.
go there. So next up was
Yeah.
the Runettes. Based on the Ronettes, right? Yes. I will say they look like them. The problem is they're not nearly as dramatic as the other two groups anyway, like in real life. So I feel like there's some extra pressure then to really like live up to the other two already. I don't think they did that. I didn't expect them to. But I definitely think, and it looks like we talked about this after we watched it. It looks like they provided all the costumes and stuff for them.
Mhm.
These wigs were a little off for me. I don't know.
They were somehow visually low. The
Yeah.
group, the Runettes, looked okay. They looked pretty good,
Yeah.
except for their weird wig part.
Yeah, Deja Sky actually looked this is probably one of her better looks, because you see like a really nice silhouette with her. Like she looks really pretty.
Absolutely.
And then you had Jasmine's vocals, which were just cats fighting in the alley behind my house. It was woof.
Well, I thought George's was really bad, and then there was Jasmine Kennedy. I'm like, you saved the best for last.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is terrible. Please stop. Please.
I feel like I was on board with it by the end. Maybe that was because in comparison to Jasmine, so my notes exactly say Jasmine and Georges especially bad, but Georges talking growing on me. It's
Emoji.
It did feel better by the end, and I definitely wrote down that Deja had a nice silhouette. Her makeup looked good. The choreography,
she was
like
the best of the three.
For sure. The choreography was really bad. It looked like a really bad cheerleader's routine. And they lacked certain amounts of coordination and peppiness during this cheerleading routine.
Yeah, I was very nervous for Georges going into this because of the recording, but I actually was. I really liked the talking bit she did because it sounded like a song from that era, because they did have a lot of like talking bits and songs like that. So
they absolutely did.
Yeah, so it actually made a lot of sense to me.
Yeah,
like if I hadn't seen the recording booth session with Michelle, I would have just thought that they planned that the whole time, and I would have been fine with it. And then Jasmine would have just been the worst one for me. Then
we had the Rupremes, which were also advantageously the closers of the show, and happened to be RuPaul's favorite of the three real life groups, right? So this, like we said, was probably the second strongest group, and I think that's kind of where things landed. There's a couple things about the Rupremes that made them my personal favorite group. First, Lady Camden got red while they were doing their choreography, because of course everyone watches them do each other's choreography for drama. If they didn't pick their own outfits, then Lady Camden had to know, okay, this is probably the outfit we're going to be in, so let me come up with a choreography that will be very Supreme-like, which I thought was really, really smart. Also knowing that Angeria and Carrie Colby are not dancers. So to me, it makes her shine as both a considerate choreographer and as a performer. Like, it was very, very smart of her knowing this is probably going to be our outfit. They're not very good dancers. Let me come up with something that's very easy to do and remember and will look great. And it did. Their dance looked very convincing. It was really easy to follow. And I thought their performance was really, really good because it was simple but effective.
For sure. I definitely like the Shangri-Las a little bit more. I like their choreo a little bit more. I like things that be a little bit funny. And they definitely had decent vocals. But Lady Camden was throwing some serious young lady bunny vibes during this performance.
Yeah. It was like Young Lady Bunny as B. Arthur. It was weird. like performing at the Oscars or the Emmys or something. I don't know. It was weird. So this week's theme on the runway was Heart On, where everybody had to wear heart-inspired outfits. First up, Willow Pill.
I actually really liked this look. I thought it was really cute. It was very, it was hearts everywhere and it was lingerie. So, it was very cute. It was very on the nose, yes, but also very Willow Pill.
Absolutely Willow Pill. But I appreciate that she gives us a different silhouette every single week. She's out of the box conceptually. I never feel like anything that she's done is ever repeated. It's just, I loved her makeup. It was just
gorgeous.
She's so captivating every single week in a different way. And I appreciate the different faces and facets of Willow Pill.
It's like you're excited to see what she's going to do.
For sure. This trip has definitely been so good so far.
Next up, we had Diabetti, who came out with like a punk rock version with her heart outfits.
Did anybody else feel like they've seen this before somewhere? Like, I just feel like it's the same thing over and over and over again.
And it's her promo wig, which Zach pointed out.
Right. And what I don't understand is that they gave her such praise for still looking dangerously close to Crystal Method. Her makeup has not changed that much. She hasn't taken any of the notes that Carson gave her to her face. But she like killed the competition this week. I don't understand. I don't understand the story that they're pushing with her.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. It's not a terrible look. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, it's ugly, it's awful. Like, it looks fine, but it is not the best look that came out on the runway.
I didn't say I hated it. I just feel like I've seen it before. And I feel like I've seen it from Crystal Method before, or maybe Diabetes before. Who really knows? I get the both of them confused a lot.
Then we had Bosco, who I also think did not get enough credit this week for anything.
This is the look that should have won.
This was awesome.
This was gorgeous.
Yeah, I loved this so much.
This was elevated. This was high fashion. It was classic. Like, this was amazing. She was robbed. She was robbed in the challenge, and she was robbed on the runway.
I totally have to agree with you. This has been the best runway. This is my favorite runway so far this whole entire season. It's classy and rude all at the same time. Like, I loved it. I don't know how Bosco did not win this week. I'm feeling a little upset about it.
Then we had Deja Sky. And while this is something different than she normally presents, I still didn't love this. I was surprised by how much praise it got.
I wrote cosplay, and not to like rag on cosplay, because cosplay looks can look amazing and elevated and very up there. But this was very like convention cosplay.
Then we had Georges. She came out with heart wings, the very Victoria's Secret angel kind of outfit.
That's exactly what it read for me, was Victoria's Secret, and I saw it and I was immediately bored. She played to her body again, and it's very safe and it's very boring.
Absolutely. Georges is gorgeous. Of course she is. I need something more. At this point, she's relying on that body too much.
Jasmine Kennedy had this red dress with some giant glittery hearts on it that almost didn't even look like hearts because they were so bulky.
A Greek goddess, ma'am, you are not. It wasn't an ugly dress. Like, the dress was pretty, but you threw on a tiara and a heart puff.
I hate this.
That's literally exactly what I wrote down. I hate this. I hate the silhouette. I hate the cut. I hate the explanation. I feel like if she was going to drag Maddie for all that stuff, this is just as ill conceived as a concept as Maddie's rodeo clown, Foursquare dancing, whatever blow up doll partner that she got kicked off for.
Next we had Angeria. I like the outfit the black and white outfit she's wearing, and I think I like the wig, but this glitter just to check the box of the weird challenge that she slapped onto it. I feel like the glitter cutouts make it look cheap.
It does.
And I don't like that.
It makes it look last minute. Like, I just slapped this on.
For sure. And I definitely appreciated this non-pageant look. I really did. I feel like her makeup needs to be a little bit more not pageant because her hair isn't pageant. And her makeup is definitely still that very, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. She knows how to paint her face. I didn't say that. I just feel like if we're going to go with an editorial kind of look like this, it should have some editorial kind of makeup to go with it.
Yeah, it almost doesn't match the wig.
Right. But I feel like this is safe.
Next, we had Carrie Colby, who came in this like heart in veins kind of outfit.
The attention to detail is what would have made this so much more elevated. Like, she didn't need the neck piece. The liner of the pantyhose is distracting. Like, just editing it a little more and a little more attention to detail to really get that. You know, if these are supposed to be like artery veins and like that's the whole concept here, well, lean into that then and like take some things out so that you really get your point across for this look.
Next up, we had Lady Camden, who came out as somebody who was shot by Cupid's arrow. And I thought it was cute. It was a little costumey. And I thought this stuff was way too big on her, but it's cute.
And I thought it was okay. I definitely felt like the heart was too big. I loved her hair and her makeup. I thought she looked beautiful. The silhouette of the dress, the way that she sold it, the way that it went from the front to the back, she pays attention to all these small details. Like, it's just a tiny bit of editing that she needs to do, as opposed to, girl, you were naked last week. Girl, you were naked the week before. Girl, you were naked the week before that. Show me something else.
Right.
Like, I feel like Lady Camden definitely brings us something else.
Mm-hmm.
She loves that flowy fabric. Don't get me wrong. I do too. I'm going to need to see something a little bit different, maybe. But I don't think that she was in the bottom this week.
Tops and bottoms of the week, then, as things shake out, are, interestingly, tops are Diabetes, Deja Sky, and Angeria. Bottoms are Jasmine Kennedy, Carrie Colby, and Lady Camden. As we have all discussed already, we disagree. I thought this was weird. The only one I agree with is Jasmine, like for sure. And I can understand Carrie's spot in here. For tops, a little surprised Deja was up there. You know, I feel like that should have been Bosco's spot maybe. And I would probably actually replace Diabetes with Willow. Taking into account the runway and the performance, I just feel like, I don't know. Anyways, that being said, the winner of this week's challenge is in fact Diabetes, who scores her first win. It's yet another scattered challenge on the scoreboard, which I think they're also making a point to do. And it is a perfect climactic conclusion to Diabetes' storyline so far. I don't know what's planned next. But you know, she's gone from being eliminated to now here, and she's like officially a big name in the group now. That means the bottom two is in fact, once Lady Camden is told she's safe, as I think is correct, Carrie Colby and Jasmine Kennedy are forced to lip sync against each other.
How has Jasmine Kennedy not known the words twice and still sent girls home? How has this happened?
How did she kick her heel off and assault a judge and not get sent home?
With that being said, oh, she looks great here though. That being said,
it's Carrie like a red Colby, Maleficent there.
Yes. Carrie Colby is told to sashay away. Goodbye, Carrie. Okay, it's time for Drop Tweets. Getting into the scoreboard, so things have begun to shake out into some interesting ways. I'm gonna break it all down. As always, these are the competitors we started with, and who's who we have left. Carrie Colby, of course, now coming in 9th place after sashaying away last week. Up for elimination, this was Jasmine Kennedy's second time up for elimination, now putting her the person who's been up for elimination the most times. Deja Sky and Georges 1 time each, Diabetes being eliminated and then brought back before for 1 time, and challenge wins and rankings. So Angeria, of course, obviously the front runner in first place. She's got 2 challenge wins still under her belt and a lot of cash under her belt. Not that that really matters, but she's doing all right. Second place, Willow Pill, a challenge win under her belt, 5,000 in cash as well. Now, they've sprinkled out the challenge wins a lot now over the course of the season, which means challenge wins count a little less. And people have been placing high, low a lot more often, especially now that we're actually chopping people and there aren't as many safe queens. And for the most part, even with that, a lot of them had kind of the same math. But now, especially after this week with Lady Camden plummeting kind of to the bottom, unfortunately, Carrie now being out, and Diabetes shooting the other way, things have actually individualized quite a bit. And this is how they rank up based on that math in terms of where they've placed every week. Bosco's in 3rd. I think that's definitely correct. Georges is still in 4th, which I think is true. Lady Camden, unfortunately, after this week, now in 5th. Just had a bit of a tumble. Diabetes, though, still 6th. Deja Sky in 7th. Still pretty low, but she's hanging in there. Jasmine Kennedy, though, especially after, having to be up for elimination again, I really think she's probably next up for the chop if she doesn't shape up. She's in 8th place right now.
God, I hope so.
This week's episode is Menzies. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Menzies. Anyways, yeah, they have to do a panel at DragCon, quote unquote, like a mock DragCon panel, and present on a topic. And the topic for this week, for this challenge, is going to be men, including what it means to be a man and toxic masculinity. Anyways, with that being said, we are all caught up and ready to tackle on this next episode as we finally start moving things along this season. If you'd like to check any of our ongoing or previous coverage of season 14 of RuPaul's Drag Race, you can do that right here on the PG Media channel. You can also follow PG Media on social media. You can find that information in the description below. And subscribe today so you don't miss out. And with that being said, as always,
Thank you for watching highlights.
And we'll see you next time.